Hello and welcome to Target Beats. Today we're going to learn how to use a software called Cubase. We have different versions of Cubase, but I choose to use Cubase 5, so I'm going to open it up. There's Cubase 10, but the problem I find with Cubase 10 is it's kind of like incompatible with some of the plugins that I use. So I prefer to stick to Cubase 5 and a lot of producers around the world. But really, it doesn't matter what version of Cubase that you're using. You can always, let's say, use Cubase 5 to do a project and then open it in Cubase 10, or use Cubase 10 to do a project and open it in Cubase 5. They interchange in that way. So Cubase can be used to make beats, but that's more like for the advanced beat makers because you need to know how to play the keyboard, the piano to be able to make beats in Cubase. It's much easier to make a beat in FL if you do not know how to play the keyboard. But now I'm gonna run you through how to use Cubase, but not how to use it to make a beat because I don't play the piano, so I use FL to make my beats. And I'm gonna teach you how to use it to record vocals and to simply mix vocals. So Cubase is wonderful for recording vocals, and I'm going to show you in a bit how to do it. So when you click on the Cubase icon like you saw me do earlier, it opens up this interface and you can then choose which of them you want. So example, I can decide to go for an empty rack, and then you have to tell it where you want to save the items. So I would say prompt for project location, and then I'm going to click continue. When I click continue, it's going to ask me where do I want to save the projects. Okay, now for the purpose of this tutorial, we want to create somewhere where we're going to save the project. So I want to do this on my desktop, and I'll make a new folder. Sorry, each time I make a new folder, my mouse is a bit slippery, so it affects it. Okay, so I just rename this folder into testing or testing tutorial. Great. And I click on it, and then I would say okay. So it's gonna store all my files into that folder. So this is Cubase basically for you. This is the interface of Cubase. It has file, it has edit, it has project, it has audio, MIDI, scores, transport, devices, help, and I always say this help is not much help. I mean, if you want to get to pro level, this help cannot help you, but that's why I'm here to simplify the process for you. Target Beats. So do well to subscribe. So this is the Cubase interface for you. Now, when you go down to File, it has New Project, which is what we've already opened. It says a new library, open, that's if you have a project on your computer. It says open library, that's if you've made some libraries already. It says close, it says save, it says save as, it says back up your project, and it says save as a template. That is if you did something really nice that you want to use in other projects, but you don't want to create the same thing over and over again. You could just come to save as templates. And then it has import, if you want to import an audio file or from a CD or whatever, or a MIDI file. And then it says export, which you have the audio mix down and all that. I'll go into that in a bit. Then it says replace audio in video. Then it says cleanup, preferences, key commands, whatever. I'm going to explain all these later. Then it says recent projects, and like you can see, I've worked on a couple of projects, so I have them listed here. But if you are new to Cubase and you haven't yet worked on a project, this place is going to be empty, obviously. So when you come down to edit, it has all these copy and paste, which is the normal standard for edit on any Microsoft computer. and then it has projects. It says add track, add an audio track, add an instrument track, a MIDI track. I don't really use this because there's a simpler way of doing that. You could do the tempo of the track, you could do the markers, the pulls, and etc. But I don't use them because I have a simpler way to do them, and I'm going to teach you today. It says audio process audio. Process audio is kind of like cleaning up your audio, increasing the gain, which is the volume, resampling, pitch shifting, and stuff like that, putting a noise gauge and stuff like that. Then you come to the plugins. Do you want to put some plugins onto your audio and etc.? Yes. Then the hit points, the advanced, really, all of that you won't be using much. Then here with the MIDI is when you want to make a beat. But like I said before, I don't use Cubase to record beats. I use Cubase to record vocals, because what I find is that the vocals are much clearer when you record them with Cubase, and then also it has this a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can do to the audio when you record it in Cubase. So that's why I love to use Cubase. Then we have the scores, we have the media, all of this I don't really use. We have the transport, and then we have the device, which is very important. You need to know how to use this panel, because this panel is basically where you're gonna select your audio interface and etc., and then it has the different windows and etc., and then it has the help. So let me start from devices. Okay, great. Now I use a sound card, PreSonus sound card, which is audio box. And so if you want to bring your sound card into your Cubase, you go to devices, you click on VST connections, okay? And this is your output, right? So you select and you choose your output. Let's imagine I did not have any output, so let me remove the bars. And if I didn't have any output yet selected, or if your Cubase is really like new, you will not have anything here in input and nothing here in output. So output refers to the speakers, your monitors. What is coming out of your monitors? Where do you want it to pick the sound from? What is input refers to what is going into your computer and coming out of your monitors. So where do you want it to record from? So let's do the input. I come in and I say add a bass, right? Great. Do I want to add a mono bass, or do I want to add a stereo bass, right? You can add a stereo bass because you want it to be left and you want it to be right? Good. And then you come in here and it already selected my audio bass. Then I come in to output. I would pretty much do the same thing, do a stereo bass, because I want to have my left and my right speakers, and it says it's already selected it for me. So it depends on the sound card that you are using. So that's how you select your inputs and your outputs. Then I'm going to close this. I'm going to come back to device. And then how do you choose your sound card? You come to device setup, and then you click on device setup. You click here. I'm already on my audio box, but if you are not on it, you could click here and you select amongst the list what your sound card is. Like sometimes I use an M audio sound card, so I could select that as well. So you select any one you want. This is the sound card of my computer, audio ISO V2. Every computer has that. So it's basically changed to my computer right now, but I want it to be on my sound card because I want like a refined sound. Great. And so you can see, as I selected my sound card, you can see it peaking here because it's picking from my microphone. And if I go, for instance, here, you see that there's no feedback. because it's picking the input from my sound card, not from my computer sound card, from my external sound card. That's my sound interface. Great. So that's basically like the key thing that you need to know about the device panels. And like I said, this is an overview, so it's not going to go deep into other things. Then you can come in here and file your new projects, your export, and all that. I'm going to go into export in a bit when I bring in a project to explain to you. But the next thing you see here is a sound. This is to activate your project. Sorry, so if you have like 3 projects open, once you click on this, the project that was activated before deactivates and this project becomes active. Then you have your to the end and to the right. And so let me add audio channels first so that you can understand. So what I do is I come on this place and I right click and I say add audio track. I add an audio track. It asks me, do I want to do a mono or do I want to do a stereo? So let me explain this to you. Example, if you want to bring a beat into Cubase, you usually want to do it stereo because your beat is in a stereo. And then you say, okay, so now I have added an audio track. And this audio track is a stereo audio track, which I would probably put my beats on. Great. So let's try and import a beat because I think it's easier to explain to you as we go on. So you come to File, you come to Import, and you say import an audio file. Great. And I'm going to try and import something, right? So I go in here on my computer. I really don't know what beat this is because I work on a lot of projects daily. And so I have imported my audio, and as you can see, my audio is in a stereo form. It has the left and it has the right. You can see the peaks. Great. So now, if I wanted to record a vocal on this beat, I would right click here on an empty space. Don't do this, don't right click here. Come down here, right click here, and say add audio track. Now you add an audio track. This time, if you want to record vocals, you have to add a mono track. So I will add a mono track here. And there's my mono track. Great. Pardon me. So my mono track is going to pick from my microphone what I want to record. So if I, for instance, hit record here, it's going to play the beat. I can hear the beat in my headphones, and then I can sing along with the beat. So let me do a freestyle just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, 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 no. Every time I do, every time I look into your eyes, baby, I know. Baby, I know. Great, so I can stop recording right now, and you can see it created a mono. So the difference between this is that this is a mono channel and this is a stereo channel, so it has the left and right. The mono channels put everything together and it just creates one in the middle. So I just recorded something from my microphone on my mono channel, so we can have a listen to what I did. Yes, so that is what I recorded right now with my microphone. Now, we could decide to, let's say we want to do like a backup of this, we could decide to add more audio tracks. Great. And do a backup. Let's say I want to do a second voice behind this voice. Like sometimes you want to do a tenor or an alto or a soprano, so you create an extra and then you do it underneath. Or maybe it's just rap and you just want to punch the lines, right? So what I did here is kind of like a freestyle, so I will not necessarily be able to back it. But let me try and do something just so that you know that you could do it on 2 channels. So just check this out. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Eyes, right. Eyes for a ride. Oh, 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 oh. Great, so you can see that I recorded on another channel, and if I play back right now, the two are gonna play together. So I'm sure if you have good ears, definitely you could hear that there are two voices in there. Great. Now, just to fast forward a bit and teach you something. So let's assume that I'm working on these 2 tracks, and I want to be able to hear only one of them. This you see here M. Like when I hover over it, you see it right mute. So that's mute, right? So if I mute that track, anything on that track is not gonna play. The only things that are gonna play are the ones which are unmuted. Great. So I unmute it. Great. So that's how Cubase actually works. I can also solo the track. So when I solo, it's gonna play only this, and it's gonna mute the. It's gonna play only this, and it's gonna unmute this. Sorry, it's gonna mute this and that. So these are not gonna play. Let me show you. Great. So I'm sure you get the whole idea of how to use. So now let me dive into something a bit more advanced. So when you click on any of the tracks, it means that you have selected those tracks. Great. Now, I am pretty sure you know by now that when people record music, they add effects to their voices. So they would add probably an auto tune, and they will add a compressor. A compressor basically makes the sound more powerful. And the reason why I say powerful and I don't use loud is because a lot of people confuse loud with powerful. So powerful is loud, yes, but it also has to do with quality. So that's what compressors do. They don't just make it loud, they also add some quality to the sound. So what you want to do is, let's say, add a compressor. So what do? I come in here and I left click on any of these arrows, and then I will choose my compressor. So I know where the compressors are usually at the dynamics. And then I love this compressor by Waves, CLA2A. And so I click on the compressor. It will upload onto that channel. Great. And I will go into that in another tutorial. And then I would load my other compressor, because sometimes you like to add like 2 or 3 compressors to your work just to help with the sound. Great. So I do a CLA 3A. Great. And I'm gonna, like, I know the settings that I wanna use and the settings that are accurate for my voice. But like, it's you need to experiment and know what works for your voice. Great. So I added the CLA 2A and the CLA 3A. I want you to listen to it without and then with. So I'm going to mute them. That's the power button. When you click on them, they go numb, so it's not working right now. And I'm going to mute this channel, which is the backup channel, because I put the effects on this channel, and I'm going to play that together with a beat. And you're going to realize that the beat is a bit louder than the voice. So what I'm going to achieve with these compressors is to bring the voice to par with the beat. Great. So let me click now so that you hear the difference. Great. So now we're gonna do that with the compressors on. I'm sure you can hear a clear difference. Great. So you can hear a clear difference. So when it comes to mixing of voices, basically you're doing 3 things. You're putting the enhancers, which are the equalizers and the auto tunes, and then you are putting your compressors, and then you are adjusting your volumes as well. So these are the basic 3 things that you're going to be doing. And then the enhancers are delays and flangers, and if you really need it. But it depends on your kind of voice. So when I play this, you realize that I'm a bit distuned. What an auto tune is gonna bring me back to tune. It's an auto tune. So people like T-Pain and all that have known how to use that software so well. So I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to choose my auto tune. It's usually at the pitch shift, and so I have auto tune already installed on my computer. You need to have it installed because it doesn't come with the Cubase software. So maybe I'll put a link in the description below. Maybe not, but I'm sure if you Google auto tune, you will get some good auto tunes to download for free. So let's click here, auto tune, and I'm gonna choose the key of. So I probably choose like a major, right? And then I'm going to play and then guess the key, because I don't have my keyboard here. So I want to guess the key with my ears. Great. So I put in some auto tune. I'm going to have a detailed tutorial which is going to really teach how to tune the auto tunes, right? There are various types of auto tunes depending on the taste that you want. So I hit my play. So not quite, I'm distuned. So what I do most of the time is I keep on changing the key until I realize that I'm on the right key. Yes, so I realized that this is actually a D major. I'm on a D, the beat is in a D major and I'm singing in a D major. So when I put the auto tune in, what it does is it auto corrects some of my pitches that were wrong, and then it gives it this very nice silky. I mean, it's a voice, it's a texturizer, so it texturizes my voice. Great, and maybe I want to add like an EQ in there. I'll go in there, and my favorite go-to EQ is Fab Filter. I choose my Fab Filter, and this really a crazy setting, so I just go and maybe choose one of the defaults vocal. Yes, so I'm gonna play without the EQ and with the EQ for you to see if you can identify the difference. Okay, great. So that was without the EQ. Now with the EQ. Great. So with the EQ, it makes it a bit more smoother. And maybe I want to have like a repeat, like a delay slap, So I come in here and I go to delay. This is my go-to delay, mono delay. And this is my go-to sound, vocal, sweet vocal delay. I mean, it works on anything, for me. So when I played, you would hear some delay. Great. So the delay is on there. You can increase it at 6.9 right now, so it's not much on it. I mean, you can't really hear it, but let's do like an 8, and then probably you will hear it more louder. You had the delay, right? So it's smoothly under it. It's not distracting. That's why sweet vocal delay is like my go to delay. So now these are the basic effects that I usually like to add to my voice, and I'm doing an overview, but I'm going a bit deeper into it because this is mixing. And now you realize that the effects are not on this channel. So what I will usually do is I will duplicate this channel, great, and then I'll just delete what was on it, and then I'm gonna control and lift this vocal onto that channel. So control and you just lift, control and you lift. You keep your hands down on the control so that it doesn't shift, and then you just drop it, and then you leave the control. So now whatever effect is here is also here, like you can see. Great. So the effects are on the inset channels. Great. So sometimes you compose, and because this was like a freestyle, every time I look into your eyes, girl, it looks like paradise. I mean, when you do it for a while, you get used to composing songs like once you hear a beat. Basically, so that is the main overview of FL Studio. You later have to learn the shortkeys. So in case this is the uh, markers, right? And the markers are for if I want to play a particular part of the song. So let's say I want to play just this part of the song, right? Great. So it goes over. But if you want it to loop at just where the markers are, you click here, and then it loops. So you can see it looped. When I want it to stop looping, I click on it again. As simple as that. And when I want it to go to the beginning of the song, I click this, and it's at the beginning. So when I want it to go at the end of where the marker is, I click this. Sorry, at the end of the song of the beat. Sorry, I click here, and it goes to the end of the beat. So I will come back to the beginning of the beat, right? Great. So this is my project. There are other things here, like if you want to make it bigger, down here. If you want to make your project bigger so you can see what you're doing, and if you want to stretch it out, also here. And then you could also decide to color. So if I want, like this is a backing vocal, I want it to be different from this, I can come here and I can color. And that's it. It looks different from this because it's in a yellow and this is in a purple. So that's basically it. Now, let's say that I'm done with this project and I want to export my project. First of all, before I go into that, you realize that there's a tempo here, but because we're not making the beats here, I usually like to just leave it at 120. But then I come here, if I want to export my song, I have to tell it which length I want it to export. So I drag my markers to the point where I want it to export to. So now I recorded just here, so I go here and I click file and I click export, and then I'm going to click on audio mix down. And when I click on audio mix down, I'm going to tell it where I want it to save on my computer. So maybe I want it to save on the desktop. I just make this a demo. And I save. And do I want to save in WAV or do I want to save in MP3? For today, I want to save in MP3. You want to keep your beats in MP3, and you want to keep your mix down also in WAV, right? Because you're going to master it, but then your final output of a master needs to be in MP3. Anyway, I'll explain that in a later tutorial. So this is just an overview video just for you to be up and going and recording something. So I click on MP3 and I hit export. Great. So it's just going to export it, and that's the demo there for me. Maybe when I play it, you will hear. Great. Yeah, so basically that's just how to do music like fast and going. Sounds good, sounds decent and good. So basically that's what you want to do, right? Yeah, so that is a little bit of how you could just be up and going and record with FL Studio. If you have a mixtape you want to do, you just bring the beat in here, make sure it's a stereo channel for your beat, and when you want to record your vocal, make sure it's a mono channel. Make sure you are here in devices and you've gone to VST connections, and you have for the output selected your speakers, and for the input you have selected your sound card, right? Great. And make sure you come down here to device setup and make sure you have selected your audio. Great. So basically that's it about Cubase. That these are the things that you need to do. The rest of the things are a bit advanced, and I will explain them in a later tutorial, but I'm happy to help you anytime you have problems. So let me just run through this. This is the pick tool. That's what I use to pick, and this is a cut tool just in case I want to like cut a part of the song out that I don't need. I can do that, and I can pick and I can just cut this place out of the song. So when I play it, it's not going to play that side again. Great. So, and this is the glue tool, just in case I cut two audios and I want to join them together. I could use the glue tool to do that. The eraser tool is basically just like the cut, and the magnifying tool, and this is the silencer. You want to silence any audio, you click on it and you click on the audio and you click on the audio. So you see when I play, it's there but it's not playing. When I click on it, it starts to play, right? Great. So that's basically about what you need to know about Cubase to be off and started and running and record some good music. I'm glad to help you, and do well to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to do that because it's very important. It's how I keep going, and I love to share my knowledge with you. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments section. I'll be glad, I'll be excited, I'll be happy to help you. and to walk you through any process if I need to do any subsequent tutorials. Have a nice day. Have a good evening if you're just about to go to sleep. And Target Beats is the name always. Thank you very much.